Well, hello everyone. Hi Susan, hi Katie, hi Sarah. This is Toni Weel. We do our, what is it, number 23, I think, podcast together with Sarah from Virtuous Unicorns. We love to answer your health questions. Are we going to answer any other questions besides health? Maybe we should. But
Whatever
then again,
comes up, huh?
but then again, maybe everything actually is about health.
All relates to it, I'm sure.
Yeah, including our sanity, which is sometimes really out the door. Like what happened for me the last few days. First, I had to unexpectedly have a kitty euthanized because he needed surgery. And the doctor said, or the veterinarian said, yeah, surgery is a few $1,000s, but he probably won't live. And then what do you do? If you would have the few $1,000s, would you still go for it with a slight chance that he may live? And he had a colon blockage, so they had to remove the colon. How does a cat live without a colon? I think he would have been miserable.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to have him euthanized. And I had many cats with the rescue over the years, but you never get used to any of it ever. Not ever. And then you get into a situation like you want to numb the pain. And often we try to do that by eating. And I was so proud of myself that this time I did not do that. I had my fruit and I really stick with all the fruit. I did it. And trauma is, no matter if it's, mental trauma, physical trauma, it's always acidic to the body. So it was really taking a step back and it's like what to do and what not to do. And of course, the choice always has to be, no, don't go into that junk food. Don't give in to your emotional eating. But sometimes it almost feels like you don't have a choice and you do it anyway. But this time I was a little smarter than that. It didn't happen. I didn't give in.
That's wonderful that, you were able to stick with it, but it is so heart-wrenching. I mean, they're just a long time ago, someone told me that our animals are like, it's like losing a child most of the time because they are our babies and we care for them throughout their whole entire lives. We never stop caring for them. They don't just all of a sudden one day pack up and leave and start their own lives. They are our babies forever. And that's why it can be so traumatizing and so hard to lose a pet. Even we know we understand and we believe we're doing the best we possibly can, it is definitely still just very, very hard.
Yeah, and especially when you have to realize that it's the same as with us, all the symptoms that we have and all the so-called diseases the doctors attach to it, it's just as bad, if not even worse, in our animal world, our pets. Not the animals who live in nature, they know what to eat. But we feed our cats and we feed them only processed foods and we feed them junk food. And I have taken in cats from a person who passed away. So there was no choice. These cats just, they needed a home. But then you realize that they didn't want to eat any of the good stuff or the raw meat that I was giving them. They only wanted to eat the dry food and sometimes really junk, high protein. But then again, it's all high protein foods, and it kills them. It just as that's what Dr. Morse said. It doesn't matter if it's a dog or a cat or a human. High proteins will kill. So you can think, yeah, but a cat is a protein eater. Yeah, but the way it's being fed to them now, it's all high fat and high protein. and you can look at the best processed foods that you can find, and it proudly says on the cans like high protein foods. So it's really sad. And then I was like, okay, maybe I should deworm my cats, because I tried to give them the no chemicals if I can prevent it, and try other methods. But you get sometimes in a position that it is like maybe they need some worm or dewormer. And you call the vet what they recommend, and so you can compare with other things and how well it works. Then you have to go to the vet to be able to get that dewormer. And you have to do that every 6 months. You have 8 cats, that means you have to take 8 cats to the vet to get dewormer for them all.
Mhm.
And it is so pushed that it's unbelievable. And if you go to the vet with, because, of course, I have been going to the vet with issues my cats had. First thing you always want to do, they want to do an x-ray, they want to do the blood test. And I'm like, my gosh, when I think about the cats that I had like 40 years ago, yeah, sometimes you had to go to the vet when they had an accident. The cat did it all by feeling and listening and listen to what I had to say about symptoms. Right now, it's the same as with doctor. They don't want to know about your symptoms. Well, they maybe somewhat, and then they put it in a computer and there rolls out the whole list of pharmaceuticals that you have to take. I mean, how crazy is it that you now not only have cats with kidney disease, and I have to admit, 40 years ago, that happened to cats I had also. They had kidney disease. But now they have thyroid problems, cats with diabetes, animals with cancer. It's like, and it keeps getting worse. It really keeps getting worse. Now I have 3 feral cats. It's a mom and son and daughter. They are now 16 and 17 years old. They were feral. So their first year, they lived outside from, what they could catch. You know what? They are healthier than any of the other cats that were born inside a house and got fat junk food from the start.
Yeah.
And isn't that not actually the same as with people? I mean, I talked about the gentleman that I was a caregiver for 8 years. He was born in 1915. Their diet was a lot different than ours is now. He had much less problems than what you see nowadays with people. And it is like he had a better start in life with less complicated food. It makes so much of a difference.
It really does. Your foundation.
It is. It is. And with me, I was born after the war, and in what was it, in the 50s. And all the food, in the Netherlands that wasn't there in the war, that was plentiful, plentiful, plentiful. The milk and the white bread made with milk and canned food came on the market. So that is what we lived on. That was our food.
Mm-hmm.
It's quite interesting how that all went, and the difference that it makes.
We grew up pretty poor, and so we grew up on, my mom had a garden, and my dad would hunt and he would fish, things like that. So I mean, even though it was meat and whatnot, I've never been a big meat eater though. The only way I would ever eat a fish is if it was covered in tartar sauce. If nobody knows what that is, it's pretty much just mayonnaise and relish. I couldn't stand the taste of it. And then the rare occasions that we ever had a steak, I had so much ketchup or A1 sauce on it. And then chicken always had to have like lots of seasoning and dipped in that and ketchup as well. So I mean, even just as a very young age, it shows most children don't even like it in the first place. But we didn't grow up with many processed foods either, though, even though we were taking in meat. And even though we were told to have milk at every single meal because it made our bones strong. I did have asthma, and I'm pretty sure I still have issues going on to this day, probably from all of the dairy stuff. But yeah, I mean, we grew up on a garden and whatnot too. And of course we were always outside, but as we got older, it was peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, and I'm sure it was Kool-Aid, but I'm sure that started an issue there too. And then we pass it on to our children, and then our children end up with more problems. So then they're starting out with even a more poor immune system, or more backup and dehydrated cells and all kinds of stuff that we've done to our bodies. And Lord
Yeah,
knows what the next generation's going to look like.
well, that is also what Dr. Morse says. Every generation, it's getting worse and worse. If I have some very young clients and in their teens, and in all the things that is already happening to them. I mean, it's amazing and very, very sad, but they are willing to change and are changing. So that is a good thing. So at least their children will be healthier.
Mm-hmm. We
Because
have smartphones, smart TVs, smart computers, and we just can't seem to get anything right. But hopefully, with all these phones and the way we're able to reach out to each other and get the truth out, we can all connect like we have been connecting, and just spread the word and keep it going. And when you tell people at first, of course, they're going to be like, no way, you're crazy. But you've planted that seed, and we all carry the light of God within us. So when you're planting those seeds, it will blossom. It may not be today, tomorrow, next month, or even a year, but maybe in 5 years, they'll be like, oh my gosh, like the seed will come to life of some sort. So definitely keep living by example and trying your hardest.
yeah, I think it is that planting the seed. That's it. That will do it.
Mm-hmm.
It's quite amazing. Now, I came across a video right after I read a new article from John Stearns, who was he was very much into Dr. Morse for many, many years. He was the first person I talked to when I heard about Dr. Morse, and he is now all meat. It is meat, dairy, and eggs. So you're sick, you detox on fruit, and then to get healthy, further healthy, you have to eat meat, dairy, and eggs. And I'm like, darn, isn't this where all the problems started? It's not only the veggies and the nuts that don't really help you, but my gosh, it's definitely the meat, dairy, and eggs. And even if it wasn't bad, the food wasn't bad for it. Who wants to kill a lamb, a baby,
Oh.
a baby sheep from a family that
Have
has
you
a
ever
mother?
heard have you ever heard a sheep cry?
Oh yeah, oh yeah,
Sound like they sounds like little children. Like
yeah.
they it I'm tearing up remembering it. It is the most I don't know. It makes your skin crawl.
It
Like I
does.
just can't. It
And this is
crushes our light within us.
Yeah, and unfortunately, I mean, I appreciate John very much for his iridology work. But I am, yeah, with this, it's sad that now so many people finally have a justification to keep eating meat. It's like karma's out the door. That you're not supposed to kill any animals is out the door too. And it's like, oh yeah, but it's said here and it's in the Bible, and they translate everything so that it works for them. So it's like, yeah, well, you see it, and this is what we're supposed to eat, and we feel better. And I'm like, no, no. If it was food for us, we would have a different digestive system. We would have different teeth and claws, and we would be able to bite in a cow and then get when the blood is gushing out, we would be able to drink it and tear off the meat, and we're not. Our we don't have the claws to even grab an animal like that. It's the whole concept to me is so crazy. And yes, like everybody, I did eat meat. I was never a fan of it. I could do easily without, but we had to eat it because it was good for us. No, we never ate a lot of meat. It was a few times a week, and it was always less than 100 grams because my mother was very strict in that. I don't know if it was money wise or whatever it was. So when we had to go to the butcher, it was always less than 100 grams. And but we ate fish. Catholic. We ate fish once a week on Friday, and that was in what is it? They put that in bread, and kind of a bread mix, and which is seasoned, so it was edible. And never a fan of any of that. And I think as kids, and I, Dr. Morse has this example quite a few times. It's like put some bowls with meat and with some beans or veggies, and put fruit there. Put two bowls with fruit there, and now see what will this child grab. Of course, they grab the fruit. I have never seen a child that would turn away from fruit, unless it's maybe a few years old and never had it before. But if you start with the fruit at a young age, they want to eat the fruit, and we make them getting used to those disgusting little ground up what's in the jars for the babies.
Yeah.
And the kids. And don't get me wrong, I used it on my daughter. I did.
We did too.
And, yeah, it's not knowing any better, and it's what they need, and being a young mom. But yeah, it's sad actually that it takes us so long to wisen up.
Well, that truth has been really hidden from us for a long time. And, we definitely can't blame our past, and we can't blame our parents or anything like that, because they were just doing what they thought was best for us as well. Mhm. I saw a comment over here about from Jacob and JV about loving to eat meat before. Back when we did eat meat too, we had more of a carnal mindset. We acted as animals, and we were acting as what we were not meant to act, or how we were not meant to act. And now that we are eating the way we are supposed to eat, it's bringing out our true nature, where we are kind men and women, and that's the way we are supposed to be.
I think so too, and I think well, this goes back years and years for me, that I already had the idea that people who ate meat were more aggressive.
I think so.
Huh?
I think so.
Yeah, but that was before I knew what I know now. I was already aware of that difference. Now, throughout my life, I have been, macrobiotic, vegetarian, vegan. So I've been through all these stages and not really wanting to eat meat. And it wasn't about my health. It was that I didn't want to have, kill an animal or be part of killing an animal. Now, there is something. If you ever watch like some kind of a criminal TV show, where they always say, if you knew about that crime, then you're just as guilty as the one who did it, if you didn't say anything. Now, if we eat something that is killed by something else, then that is part of our karma too.
It is.
So
I think it's actually almost worse as well. I did a lot of research back in a while ago. So you are basically asking another person to go and constantly commit murder on your behalf so that you may eat. And then I don't think people understand what happens to that person eventually. Are they heavy drinkers? What kind of body, like what shape is their body in? How do they act toward their family? How do they treat their animals? I mean, do people know the psychological effect it has on somebody that continuously does that day after day after day? I said that one time that somebody should go and look to see where the domestic violence or any kind of child or animal abuse happens, if there's any kind of correlation or relation to the people that work in those factories, if that's what they're called, factories.
Yeah, probably. I see, well, I still see with meat eaters aggression. Yeah, it's no use telling them, what they are doing and why they are the way they are, because they already decided to not give up. There is a guy who I have been following once in a while. He has an YouTube channel, and with certain things that he says, he makes a lot of sense. And he had a vegan person on it, and he said, I almost went for it because he made so much sense. But yeah, I still like my steak.
It's the brainwashing. And I mean, overall, it is the addiction as well. I mean, when you have your microbiome is all messed up, your body is literally trying to crave it. I shouldn't say your body. Let me take that back. Whatever parasites you have growing within your body are sending signals, we need more of that, so you can feed that host that is within your body. So those are not your real signals you're hearing. And the other thing, have you seen how some of the people that take in a lot of protein, like especially bodybuilders or whatnot, granted, there are some very, very nice, kind people, but they seem a lot more intense, and not to be, too whatever, but I've been around more than a few men that are on a lot of protein, and they like to talk about how rancid their bowel movements smell after that. And it's even like a joke about it. And I'm like, do you realize that shouldn't be so much that you all can't even walk in there without gagging and everything afterwards? Like that's not right. That's not good to come out of your body.
Yeah, that's what they always say about a man's locker room, how it stinks.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, no wonder. I mean, what we learned is that meat does not ferment in the body. It can only putrefy, which means it only rottens.
And I'm not saying it's just men. I'm just saying like that was my experience, but don't get me wrong. I've been in the women's restroom too, and it's not pleasant on both ends either.
Well, I was talking about a locker room. I've never been in a men's locker room, but I always hear that in TV shows.
Uh-huh. Oh,
It's stinky feet and stinky underarm. And I know a person, he barely eats any meat, but he drinks, probably about a gallon of milk a day. If he starts sweating, it's like, oh my gosh. So it's not only the meat, it's all animal products. They are not meant for us.
Yep.
And I saw a question about salt, the salt craving. My experience is that usually the second, third day on 100% fruit, I don't care about salt whatsoever. But oh my, if I eat any cooked food or not 100% on fruit, and I even have like vegetables and I would have more spices in it, I need salt, and then I want salt. I can almost put my finger in the salt jar and just lick it off. It's crazy. And when I'm on all fruit, it's like, where did those salt cravings go? Now, part of it has to do with your adrenals, having weak adrenals. But when you're on all fruit and you leave all that stuff out, and you don't have the coffee and you don't have any other real irritants and not no spices, then you give your body a chance to heal. So it's like, yeah, just leave the salt out. But I can see that certain foods, it's like somehow they just have to have salt, otherwise they have no taste. And at what point do we say, oh, that fruit has no taste? Fruit has always taste. It never needs sugar or salt or anything.
Fruit is amazingly sweet. I mean, it's just so, I mean, if it's real fruit, it's amazingly sweet. But I had strawberries over the weekend that there was no flavor to them at all. So
yeah, that happens.
For the animals.
Yeah, those are the ones that I don't even wanna eat. No, JV, salt is not good for the body. So I have a whole long article with all the explanations on why it is not good. It is yeah, I get back to Dr. Morse because I listen to him a lot. it's all inorganic, so we can't even use it. And anything, I hear that a lot. Anything you cannot make a meal out of, then you're not supposed to eat it. No, make a meal out of salt.
No. And I know it is pretty boring, but it really is just fruit. I mean, that's it. Everything else has just been a lie to us, and we just been addicted to it. That's really what it is. And that's the bottom line for everyone. It's just fruit. I was listening to that. I do not even know his name, but that YouTube video you sent me that we were just talking about prior.
Oh yeah, yeah. It's yeah. I just had it. I didn't really want to have it open because then it starts playing. I think I need to go to his channel and
yeah, it's
sound of his
YAHKI.
yeah. Jackie Awakens. He has a video. Oh, that is where I was actually going when I start talking about John and all his meat. Is right after I read John's writings, and on YouTube, all of a sudden this video popped up, and everything happens for a reason. So I had to see it, and I shared it with Sarah and a few other people. I did not put it on my Facebook groups because I'm not so sure if they allow it, and I don't want to be kicked off from Facebook because I'm an admin in a more than 40,000 people group, so I need to be able to keep doing that work. But he talks about, well, actually, his title was "These 3 foods will heal and regenerate your cells. Eat by design, not by desire." Now, he did not get to the 3 kinds of the 3 foods that will heal and regenerate, but he was getting at fruits, berries, and melons. Hey, we got thunder here. But that in that video, he explained so well why we are not supposed to eat meat and what it does in our body. And he shows the difference in teeth, in GI tract, and in he even shows about the pancreas. And he has one of these, I don't know what you call that, these models with all the organs that you can take out, and like this is here and this is the, I thought that was pretty amazing.
Yep. And how small our pancreas is compared to that of a lion.
Yeah, I really suggest that that everyone goes and watch that, because
he is intense, but it's because he's passionate. But it's a good video.
Yeah, I didn't even feel it as intense, maybe because it's like I can't have that passion too. So
yes,
exactly. Like, yeah, you ask about sea salt. It's like I was thinking, yeah, maybe yes, but then still, in what way is salt meant for us? I mean, if we want sea salt, suppose that we live somewhere and now we think, why would we need sea salt? You would have to go to the ocean to get the salt, and how much sense would that make? I know it's available now, but we go way back, in humanity, and see what is our natural food. Then no, I don't think that is part of it.
I do know a lot of people put salt on their watermelon, but I have not a clue why. They said it makes it taste better, but I mean, there's the same people that probably load up their strawberries with sugar. But yeah, so that would be the only, like, what are you putting the salt on, I guess, or what do you want to put the salt on? And keep in mind, most table salt is pretty much glass and shards and stuff like that too. So I would not
rocks. Yeah, it is rocks.
Yeah.
And it's like inorganic salt. The salt that we can use is what is in plants, and even somewhat in fruits. Now, I come across more and more how bad vegetables actually are for us. And I see a lot of people working really hard on their healing, and they're all raw, with a lot of fruit, but they still eat like raw broccoli, raw cauliflower, raw carrots, and your um, digestive system is not made for that. That's why we're always talking about soft leafy greens. I mean, iceberg lettuce is great. Other
Butterhead lettuce.
Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely. That one, and dandelion leaf,
I
and
will I will say that almost every morning because I take carrots out to my horse every morning, he takes a bite and then I take a little bite. And so, I mean, it's like a little bite where it's kind of like scrape it across my teeth. And some of them are like, I'm like, that's a good carrot. Like, that's super sweet. But very rarely do I sit down and eat carrots anymore. But I can always remember carrots were always my favorite whenever people would have like a vegetable platter out or something like that. Actually, I think that was everybody's favorite. The carrots always went first. But again, they're sweet. They're, that's why we're drawn to them, because we're drawn to the sweets of the fruit. And of the vegetable family, the carrot is one of the most sweetest of the vegetables, but it's too hard for us to break down. We don't have that ability to break it down. It takes too long.
yeah, and it has in that video he also goes into cellulose that is in the vegetables, and cellulose is you cannot digest it. I mean, I was a fashion designer, so I worked a lot with all kinds of fabrics, and I was always into natural fabrics. That was linen, cotton, silk. Before I knew better, now I wouldn't use it anymore. But it is, it is an amazing fabric. But also something that they call, I don't know if they're called here rayon. That was what it was called in the Netherlands, I think. And that is 100% cellulose. It's cellulose, they said, comes from wood. Now, it's cellulose. Do you think you can digest wood? I think not. And that cellulose is in vegetables. So,
Yep. And we just can't seem to break it down. I mean, we can over time, or how much of it do we actually really just pass through us? And it just on its way out or whatnot. I did see a video about how most people think that silk comes from worms, but there is a moth that also produces silk, and they are no longer in the wild. They're just completely kept in captivity, and they have bred them to where the moth cannot fly anymore either. So, I mean, the whole it's just, even if they are treating them good or whatever, I mean, you're still keeping this animal captive, and now you've even taken away its ability to fly. It's the same as like the sheep. The sheep can never just be released into the wild. Like, they will die. Their hair or their wool will continue to grow, and they will fall over and die.
yeah.
And it's just the horrible things we've done to animals.
Yeah, and it is again with the wool too. I mean, I used to spin my own yarn, and I love doing it. It's and I bought it straight from the farmers,
Mm-hmm.
and you get this beautiful. It's not really clean, and you don't wash it before, you wash it after. And I dyed it with plants, so it was really beautiful. And I also knitted with it, but I did not know about what happens with the sheep and how it works. And they were just they were showing every year, and that was that, not even thinking that they were made that way, because naturally it wouldn't be like that.
Mm-hmm. We've always wanted to own sheep, and I mean, we love sheep. Or at least just have them like on the farm or whatnot, and or maybe like a few rescues or whatnot. But you that's where it's a double-edged sword, in my opinion, is if you don't use the wool and they quit shearing them, they're just going to die anyway. So do you still use the wool, but then we start a better practice of learning to breed them to where their wool does not continuously grow, and we start bringing them back to how they are naturally supposed to be, breed that gene back out of them, so it's just not a continuous. growth or whatnot. But if we don't use the wool and they don't, then what happens? Do they
Yeah.
just throw the wool away at that point then?
Right, but that is the same as with leather. If you are as a vegan, should you still wear leather? I mean, as a motorcycle rider, yeah, I have leather boots and I have a leather jacket, and I still have them, and I do wear leather shoes. But it's like, it's a byproduct of all the animals that are being killed for consumption. But now you can come to a point, it's like, if an animal dies a natural death, should it be buried, or should you still use the leather and whatever else? It's difficult.
I do. Another way to look at that though is to remove the skin from an animal or a person is not, it's not for the faint of heart.
No.
And is I believe that would not, it's not kind, and it takes a toll on the person doing it. And so therefore I would believe that you should bury them after that, instead of skinning them and using them so their quote body doesn't go to waste. It is not
No, you have that is how I feel too. But I do have to, being honest, I mean, I do have to admit, I don't buy anything new now in leather, not even a leather purse, although I had leather purses. But as with shoes, it's harder to give up.
Oh, absolutely. Because I mean, it's almost impossible to find them. But if it comes down to, do we skin it or bury it, then that's where I would rest.
Yeah, I think when you're not able to do it yourself, then you should not utilize that stuff.
You should never ask someone else to do.
Yeah, I want to go into Katie's question. When I'm thirsty, should I be drinking water or fruit juice? That is actually, the first thing you would say is like, okay, if you drink fruit juice, then your body is well hydrated. Well, I can tell you, even with 3 quarts or liters of fruit juice, I got dehydrated to a point that I got constipation. I saw wrinkly fingertips, and I got a headache. And then when I drink water, all that goes away. And oh yeah, another thing was, if I don't drink water at night, it cramps in my calves, wake me up. Now we know that fruit juice goes, the juices go into your cells, water does not. And I am sure there is a better explanation than I can even think of, how exactly chemically that works in the body. But often people ask, but if I'm thirsty, what should I drink, or how much should I drink? And Dr. Morse, I have to go with what he is saying. He says you drink when you drink water when you're thirsty. So it is, I have never felt that I am really thirsty for fruit juice. I just like fruit juices and drink them. But if I don't drink the water, I notice it with the symptoms that I described. And I see that often, even as simple as having, say you had your fruit juices and fruits, and then you feel lower back pain. And we figured out, and especially my husband, who has a sitting job driving a truck, and he is like, he gets a sore back and not even thinking about, oh my gosh, I didn't drink water today. And he figured that out. And now it's like, yeah, he drinks a glass of water and the back pain is gone. Oh. So, and it's like with a headache, people say so often, they take an aspirin for the headache. Now, what took care of the headache? The aspirin or the water you drank with the aspirin?
Yep. I wonder, but how much water are you drinking with it too?
Yeah, I make a point of making 1 liter, 1 quart of water every morning with lemon in it. And I drink that throughout the day. It's always near somewhere, and I just have to make sure by 7 it's, I drank it, and then I'm good. But if I don't, even one day, if I don't do it one day because I've been too busy or forgot or didn't feel like, juicing those 2 lemons or 1 lemon, it happens. It
Suzanne's
happens.
saying that she can't hear you. I don't know if they can't hear us or they just can't hear you. I'm not sure.
Oh my God, I'm not muted.
Ah.
Oh, I don't know what to do about that.
Oh.
Because if I go out, then I can't get back in because I'm the host.
I'm gonna go on mute for just a moment and turn up my YouTube so I can hear, because I know there's a little bit of a delay anyway. So hold on. No, you're still. I can hear. I just heard what you just said. If I go out, so
Yeah,
not sure
okay.
what's going on, Susan.
I don't know.
Yeah, JB says
Oh,
he can hear us.
JC says I can hear you.
Yeah, but
And
Susan says
Susan
no
cannot.
sound still. I don't know. Sorry.
That's not good.
Mm-mm. I was gonna say fruit hydrates on a cellular level. But keep in mind, Katie, that I'm sure you're probably still in the process of detoxing or whatnot. So water is still very important during that time, especially. But definitely do them in a combination.
Yeah, it helps. Definitely you need it to get the toxins out of your body. And let me see. I think everybody can hear me now.
Yeah, Katie's saying she can hear as well.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
And it was just Susan who couldn't.
Yeah, go out and come back in and see if that helps.
Yeah, I wanna talk about something that it came up quite a few times in the last few weeks with people I've been talking to, and that is that they were doing amazingly well and really amazingly well from people who felt that they were dying, and then get get back to where they need, well, almost to where they needed to be. I mean, long-term symptoms, they are not that easy to cure, but they felt so much better. And then all of a sudden they don't feel so good anymore. And of course, my first question at any time, if it's in the group or people I talk to, what have you been eating lately? And it is always, yeah, not 100% fruit, or I didn't stick with the fruit, or I ate some cooked food, and they get a setback. Now, with that setback, and believe me, I experienced it many times, is that you get depressed again. You get to that point again, it's like nothing is working, totally forgetting that you ate something that you shouldn't eat. And even if you did, you cannot really believe that it can have such an impact on your symptoms, on your body. But you get again to that point of like, and I had that, like getting out of bed and it's like, oh my God, it's worse than it was yesterday. You know what happens then? You are right. It is worse than the day before. And then you and even if you are on all fruit and you have you're very negative in your mind, and I can barely imagine that it is even possible, because when you are on all fruit you get so much lighter, that higher frequency food, it makes you feel so much better. There are people who are very, very negative. And this is where the medical industry often comes in, telling them, oh, it's not going to work, it's not healing. So they keep that in their mind. And they can do the 40-day grape juices or eating grapes and still not heal. I want people to know how important it is to work on that, to really consciously work on how you feel, how you think, because those negative emotions, those negative thoughts, you have to consciously change it. And I had to do that. I had to replace a negative thought with a positive one, because I had a mind that was going a mile a minute, and I had all these dark thoughts, and I was like, it's like I hear these voices in my head, telling me how bad things are, and making me worried. I had to replace them with positive thoughts, or even saying, this is not my thought, this is not me. And then it went away to a point. I don't have it at all anymore. Not at all. But I can tell you, when I get off my diet, my way of eating, and I eat cooked food, or I eat, oh my gosh, I'm pretty much embarrassed to even say it. I had queso and chips. Well, that means a downhill spiral, and that can go fast. And even though realizing what you're doing, it was like everything was getting negative again, and I had to get out of that. And I know it happens to all of us. I mean, nobody is perfect. I definitely am not.
No, we're
And
all here to learn and go on our journeys and have experiences. And by you doing that, you're just confirming everything you already know as well.
it is. And yeah, we have to get out of that. And sometimes I don't really know what to say, when somebody is doing all the right things and they are not healing. But I do hear the negativity, their fears. It's not that they are just bad, negative, bad people. Of course they are not. It can be so overwhelming to not be able to get out of that. This is for me. I mean, I don't watch TV. I don't watch anything where animals are being killed. I don't even watch where when I see people fishing, or cooking shows where animals are being cooked. It's like I know I have to stay away from that, because it gets me in that downward spiral of feeling, yeah, feeling negative. So even when you do everything perfectly, make sure that you don't go that wrong. Do things that you love to do. I remember I always ask people I talk to, what do you do for fun? And with fun, people often think bars, concert, things like that. And well, I don't do anything for fun. And it's like, well, do you take walks? Oh yeah, I love going out with my dogs. I love being out in nature. And well, there you go. This is your fun. This is what you love to do. Do more of it. Do whatever it takes to get out of that rut. And we have many people who have been have a bad job or a bad relationship. Take a good look at it. Is this where you need to be? Listen to your intuition. I could say listen to the voice of God. It's there. It's constantly there. There's a reason for everything, but you have to listen. You may be in a situation that you do not want to be in, then see what you can change. And I do realize there are many of us, and I'm lucky. My husband is 100% with me all the way. So, and he's eating the same way. So we're really an awesome team. But it's often that people are struggling with that. And it is very difficult to keep your strength in that. And that is why, I always say, if you need to talk, let me know. We talk you through it, because that is what we need to do for each other, really, for each other. So
We're always asking people to call in if you'd like to, and we'll listen to you. And I think it was last week where I had posted that video I found on TikTok about that preacher where he said God separates you. He kind of basically cuts you from the pack, and he wants you alone, so that way when he speaks to you, you know his voice without a shadow of a doubt. And when he asks you to do things or puts you in these situations, you can really tune into his voice to hear what you're supposed to be doing at that time. And this is not an easy time to be here, but we have chosen to be here at this time. in order, to go through these changes and to help bring everybody into the light that we're supposed to be living within. So it's definitely it's not an easy path. And especially if you're the only one in your family doing it. But, take it slow, realize that you're kind of spoon feeding everybody right now. But like I said earlier, we all have that light within us, and it's the light of God. And once that other person starts to see another light, their light gets a little bit brighter, and you're helping. It's almost like those ones, like we're at a candle vigil and you're lighting someone else's candle and then they're lighting another candle. It's kind of like that, but it just starts growing brighter within you. That's all we can kind of do, really, and just stay on it and trust the path. And if you're not healing, you're just more sick than you thought you were. Just trust it and continue on. There's many levels of healing. Like you even said in the very beginning, do we take questions that aren't about health? Your health is a whole range of things. It could be your environment, it could be your job. It's not just your food. It's your relationship with God. Are you meditating? Are you belly breathing? Are you taking time for yourself? I mean, it's a whole range of things.
Yeah, oh gosh. Jacob, my English is so bad. That's why I don't call in. Oh, come on. I am Dutch, and yeah, I am Dutch. I know my English is not perfect, especially not the way I pronounce certain words. And I'm like, and I got called out on that sometimes, and I'm like, I can make my point, so who cares?
and we're very kind and we're very patient. Tony, we were actually talking too about, are we the same people on air as we are off air? And I said, I can be a little bit more like, come on, hurry up, let's go. But on air, I'm more like, no, it's okay, take your time.
Yeah, I see a message from Care. Sorry, not trust, only eating fruit, a lot of sugar for diabetic. Well, I am a diabetic, or I was a diabetic. If I eat fats, well, I guess I'm still a diabetic because then I'm in trouble. Now, the doctor will tell you, oh, you are a diabetic, you cannot eat fruit. So how did you become a diabetic? Because you probably didn't eat all fruit before you got a diabetic. This is a lie. Fruit sugars have nothing, absolutely nothing to do with being a diabetic. And, but if you eat fats, then yeah, you are in trouble. And fats, we all eat. Nobody can say, oh, or nobody, maybe a few now, can say, yeah, I ate as a child and teen and adult, I always ate fruit and now I'm a diabetic. It hasn't happened. It never happened. It will never happen. But now doctors tell you, yeah, you cannot eat. And then it's the same with being, fruit feeds candida or fruit feeds cancer. It is a lie. And I don't know if YouTube allows me saying that. We'll see how this goes. Gosh.
Well, what I can say, and I as well have firsthand experience, not necessarily myself, but like Toni said, it's the fat, and it's called intercellular lipid. It's fat within your muscle. Dr. Neil Bernard talked about that in one of his things there. He described it as when you're trying to get into your home with your key, but somebody put gum in your lock. The key can't go in. The key is the sugar, the lock is your muscle. And if the fat is in the muscle, the sugar can't get into the muscle to be burned up. So if you eliminate the fat, then you will start seeing better results.
It's absolutely magic. And Care, I don't know if it's Care or Carrie, I'm sorry. Have watched kidneys, follow the diet. What do you mean with watch kidneys? The way I am overweight. I have always been overweight. I am still not at the desired weight. But I give it time. I have struggled with my weight my whole life. And or struggled. Is it just, yeah, I guess it was a struggle because I didn't like it. Now I don't care. But the only way that I see my weight coming down is on 100% fruit. And if I add a cooked food or something that has fat in it, well, let's have the healthy veggie fruit avocado, what people say is so healthy. If I eat 1 week, every day I eat one avocado, after 1 week, I gain 10 pounds. Now, was it the fruit that made me gain weight, or was it that fatty avocado? Well, I can assure you that was the fatty avocado. Now, the low kidney function, what you mentioned, I've had kidney issues for 50 years. My kidney, I was warned by an iridologist 50 years ago that I had kidney issues, but nobody knew what to do about it. I still have it. And my kidneys are barely filtering, they're always filtering somewhat, but not the way I would like it to see, so I could speed up the healing, etc. Okay, then it goes slow, but we kidneys, we all do because of all the junk food that we all ate. And I'm not, singling anyone out because we all ate it. We all had the foods we should not have been eating, and it weakened our kidneys and it weakened our adrenals and whatever else in our body. So we have a host of symptoms, and the symptoms only indicate that you're acidic. Now, what you do is you transition slowly, if that is an option, if you're not too sick. That is what I did. I transitioned slowly into getting away from all the animal food. But the first years, I was still eating the fatty things and the nuts and the seeds. And my God, I was not gaining weight, and I was actually getting sicker again. And I was puzzled as what to do until Dr. Morse told me leave out the nuts and the seeds and the fats. And that is where the healing began. And you can take years doing that. Some people take a few weeks to transition to all fruit. I don't suggest you do that because that will be a shock to your body. I do know of people who actually were brave enough to do it that way. I wasn't. I had been in so much pain for so many years already. I didn't want to add anything, so I was going slow. But eventually, when you are on all fruit and the herbs that can assist you, and that is where I can come in and I can make you a custom herbal protocol, and work with you and explain more, because we have a ton of information that we, it's not all in the videos, and I don't suggest you listen to a few hundred hours of videos to find all the information. But, I love to talk to you and go further. Oh, Carrie, you say you need to gain weight. Okay.
And that they are not acidic enough. Well, yeah, I don't know. I would, I sent a link on raw figs. There's a couple of, I put it in the chat there for them. And go ahead and, look at those little clips or whatnot to kind of really hear that. But definitely reach out, healthywithfruit@gmail.com, and talk with Toni. It sounds like there's a couple more things going on than we can try to just answer from.
Yeah, it's I would like to know one thing. You said you had tests and you're not acidic enough. Did they test your blood? Because your blood is not supposed to be acidic. If you have acidic blood, you die. It is your lymph system. It is the lymph stagnation in your body. If you have any symptoms in your body, and that can be, there are stages. There are 5 stages of acidity in the body. And the 5th stage, yeah, I think it was 5, or was it 7? No, I forgot. But the highest stage of acidity is cancer. But it would be interesting for you to see, and I can send it out. Maybe I need to post it in the show notes, the levels of acidity, so you can see that. And so if you're not healthy, you are acidic. That's just plain and simple. But it is not in your blood, because your blood doesn't have a wide range of acidity. Because then you just die. You're too acidic, you die. If your blood is too alkaline, you die too. So that is, and usually they test your what is it, your blood. Now, if you test your urine, this is another thing that I suggest everybody does. If you test your urine and it is alkaline, then you're not getting the toxins out. Your urine should be slightly acidic, slightly acidic. If it's highly acidic, well, you're not in a good spot either, and you really need to work on that. But it always should be slightly acidic. And that means that you are getting some of the toxins out. Actually, my urine has been alkaline. This is years ago, and I thought I was doing good. Now I know, no, that's not how it works.
Nope, needs to get the waste out. Definitely reach out though, healthywithfruit@gmail.com, and fill out one of the forms for Toni too. And then she can kind of look at things better that way, or definitely call in, to the next show or whatnot. So that would be really good.
Yeah,
And
we're easy, pretty easy to reach. Anyone who wants to talk to me, I always suggest to use the booking system for the chat, because then I can devote a whole hour or 2 hours, whatever is needed to you, and that's yeah, whatever is needed.
And definitely go check out that video we posted too. I cannot pronounce his name, that we talked about too. The YAH, that guy.
Yeah.
Go out and check out his video too. It's basically everything we're saying as well. He just has a really good way of articulating, and he has examples, and he has that little human body thing where he can show you all the different little organs. And did you say that he's a teacher or a student of Dr. Morse?
Well, yeah, he says exactly the same things that Dr. Morse says. And when he started with his fruit, berries, and melon, I was like, well, that is something that Dr. Morse always said. You want to hear fruit, berries, and melons. If you heal fruit, berries, and melons, whatever you have cancer, you have, yeah, you have
Charlie, we're broken records.
Yeah, you have earwax build up. It's fruit, berries, and melon. By the way, earwax build up, it means that you have stagnations on the lymph in your head, and if it can't go anywhere, it comes out. Whatever, it can your eyes, your navel, your ears, wherever you have an opening,
it'll come out one way or another.
Yeah, it comes out, and people say, oh, put oil in it or put hydroxide. What is that stuff? That stuff that bubbles when you put it in your ear.
Peroxide.
Oh yeah, I have done it. I'm not doing it anymore. I just leave it alone, and just watch my diet, watch what I eat.
Orange juice is very pulling of stuff, so drink your orange juice.
Oh, I see now with carrot and okay, stomach testing. Yeah, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if the pH level is all good there. If you have any issues because you obviously went to a doctor, you have issues, you have an acidic body, and I would love to explain that further to you. It's okay. Well, we're already past the hour as usually, and
easy to do.
Yeah, I love to everybody who was here. In the show notes, there are ways you can reach me, and it's another thing. I work for donations, and because that is my only income for this. So even when for talking with me or me giving you a very extensive start, like I'm working on an ebook, how do you start all this, and yeah, and the protocol, well, you see.
There's a lot she does for you, and she's very kind with her time, and you just have such wonderful gnosis, and I greatly appreciate spending this hour with you and everyone else that's in the chat. It's a very fun time. We should maybe schedule one time where, like in the evening or whatever, where everybody just calls in.
Yeah, it's not the best time for everyone. It's but okay, it is what it is. We can do other chats too. Absolutely. We'll see what's going to happen in the future. For now, we're here on Thursdays at noon every week. as long as I have internet.
A little spotty here and there. Everybody keep on the path of the straight and the narrow. It can be a lonely journey, but we've all been called, and we heard it. So be very grateful you heard it, and enjoy your time here. Like I said in the chat too, this is going to be a time that's talked about for ages and ages to come. And I hope we're all still around in 300, 400, 500 years too, to continue talking about it.
Oh, that would be something.
That would be awesome, huh? We're going to try it. I keep telling, I'm like, the goal is not to die. Like, we're supposed to be here standing at the right-hand side of God. We're not supposed to die. This is heaven. We just need to make it that way. So
It is
my opinion. So our goal is not to die. You don't want to have to come back, because you have no idea what family you're going to be born into.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that. I was saying it to my husband yesterday. What if we are already in heaven? What if this is heaven? Okay, but now we gotta go.
I'll make a note of that. We'll talk about that next time. All right. Love to you all. Love you, Toni, and thank you all so much.
Yeah, love you. Until the next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.